Hi, I'm Zen from Zen and the Art of Mindful Eating, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Thanksgiving and how to navigate Thanksgiving and all the food challenges that we can experience during Thanksgiving. So thank you to all my readers who emailed me and shared their challenges. And so I have a list of them, and I'm going to be going through all the different challenges, well, at least the main ones, so that this video can help you in the lead up to Thanksgiving and give you some tips to help you navigate it. So the biggest challenge is the abundance of food, the variety, all the choices, and the many desserts. And this is a kind of challenge that happens at any holidays. Um, the thing with Thanksgiving is that there are many of these dishes that maybe only come round once a year, or maybe somebody's making it that you only see once a year. So how do you navigate lots of choice, an abundance of food, lots of dessert? So the first step is to give yourself permission to eat what you want. If you go into Thanksgiving with food rules and restriction and telling yourself that I need to be good, or I need to stick to this, or I can't eat sugar and I mustn't eat sugar, you may get through it like that, but chances are that deprivation will set in and there's going to be a backlash, and you're going to end up overeating those things and not stop eating those things. So give yourself permission to enjoy all the foods that are available on Thanksgiving, and give yourself permission not to eat the foods you don't like. So if you don't like green beans and you only like potatoes, and if you don't like Brussels sprouts, don't eat the foods you like. So when approaching Thanksgiving and all these different foods, the one tool that I often suggest to my clients is, if it's possible, I'm not sure that it always is, but if you know ahead of time what is going to be on offer or on the day, assess it. Look at all the things that are on offer and really choose the foods that you think you are really going to enjoy. Like maybe you want some familiar dishes, maybe you want to try something different, but focus on the foods that are really going to give you the most pleasure and enjoyment. Also, one of the reasons why we end up eating a lot at Thanksgiving is because of FOMO, fear of missing out. Now, if you're at a Thanksgiving dinner or lunch where there's a lot of choice, chances are you are going to miss out on something, because unless you decide you're going to have little tastes of everything. But the main thing is, really you need to ask yourself, how do I want to feel at the end of Thanksgiving? Like when I leave here or when I go to bed on Thursday night, how do I want to feel in my body? And that really is going to determine how much you're going to eat, because if you don't want to be overstuffed and overfull and painfully full, then that is going to inform how much you're going to eat. So start with that question. How do I want to feel physically? How do you want to feel emotionally? Do you want to feel as if you've enjoyed a bit of everything, or do you want to feel like, oh no, you don't want to have regrets? So ask yourself, how do I want to feel at the end of this physically, and how do I want to feel at the end of this emotionally? And then based on that, you can decide how much and what you're going to eat. And just before eating, tune into how hungry you are. And as you're eating, keep checking into your fullness levels. And also this brings me to the question of waste. So we have been brought up not to waste. But sometimes we end in this attempt not to waste, we end up overeating and eating to a point that is really uncomfortable in our bodies. So it's, what do you want? Do you want to feel stuffed and uncomfortable and have wasted that food in your body? Or do you want to waste the food in the bin or leave some food on your plate? So rethink waste. You don't have to finish everything on your plate. These are rules we've inherited from grandparents and parents. Of course, if you do finish everything on your plate, that's fine. But don't force yourself to do that. By listening to your body and listening to how full you are and where you want to stop. And choose what you truly, truly want to eat, not what you think you should eat. Also remember that, I talk about the different types of hunger. So there's mind hunger, mouth hunger, stomach hunger. So stomach hunger is where we feel hunger. So our stomachs will growl, rumble, and will send a message that they're hungry. Then the stomach is also where you feel your fullness. And sometimes we override that and we don't connect to our stomach. Mouth hunger is where we taste the food because our taste buds are in our mouths. So the mouth is, I like to say the mouth is like a 3-year-old. It doesn't have boundaries. It just wants more and more and more, and it doesn't know when to stop. So mouth hunger, the mouth wants constant entertainment. It can go from sweet to savory to salty to crunchy, and it just wants a party in the mouth. So, but the stomach is where you feel full. So it's a bit of a negotiation between the stomach and the mouth. So the mouth will always want more. But the stomach is where you experience the fullness and the satisfaction. Satisfaction, in fact, is the stomach, the mouth, emotions, and mind. Because you can be full and not satisfied in the same way that you can be not full and satisfied. Satisfaction is around texture and flavor and the way you eat your food. I am going to suggest that you slow down, assess your food. Really, when you're eating something delicious, be with the mouthful in your mouth. Be present for it. If you're busy talking or multitasking or standing at the counter and doing other things, you are not going to enjoy it as much, which is probably going to lead to more eating. So let's look at eating the next challenge, which is eating too much, overeating, and binge eating over Thanksgiving. So often what clients tell me is they try and restrict during the meal, and then they feel like they've missed out, so that might lead to binge eating later. Or they feel like they've blown it and they've overeaten, so what's the point? I'll start again on Monday. Be very careful of that thought. I'll start again on Monday, or I'll start again after Christmas, or I'll start again in January. Those are not useful thoughts. Just stay with Thanksgiving. Nothing has gone wrong. If you've overeaten, if you've eaten too much pie, really what's happened is you've maybe eaten a few too many slices of pie, you're overfull. Don't make it into a big drama. Maybe just go, oops. And, the research shows that during the holidays, we do tend to eat more than at other times. So maybe allow for it, expect that you're going to eat differently, that you are going to eat a bit more, that you might be fuller than other times, that it's not going to be perfect. That's why the intention of how do you want to feel at the end of Thanksgiving is really an important question to be clear about. So let's explore why we eat too much at Thanksgiving. It's really because we don't want to miss out and we want to try everything. Also, we maybe are going into this with restriction and saying, I shouldn't eat this and I shouldn't eat that and I've got to be good, or, restrictive thoughts, which can often lead to feelings of deprivation and then can lead to, oh, what the hell, I'm just going to eat whatever. So check in with your stomach, check in with yourself, and kind of get to that point where you know that you're approaching full, or where you're approaching a comfortable point, and take a moment, because if you're doing everything quickly, you're going to miss that point. So do regular check-ins on the day while you're eating and see, okay, how do I feel now? How full am I? Do I want to have more food? How am I going to feel if I have more food? And let's say you do overeat, or you end up feeling overfull. Then the main thing is, don't beat yourself up. Really, it's nourish, don't punish. It happens. And so you are already feeling uncomfortable in your body. If you then beat yourself up, you're just going to be feeling worse. So just remind yourself, it's okay. Your body will process the food and it will digest the food and you will feel better again. So as best you can you let it go, move on. Try not go into that all or nothing thinking of, I've blown it, I've ruined it, I'm hopeless, and go into that catastrophic thinking. It's okay, I overate at Thanksgiving. I'm just going to take care of myself now. My body will digest the food. So now let's move on to the next challenge. So the one is on pie. How do you navigate all the pie? Well, remember that the tips I'm giving you and the approach that I teach is mindful and intuitive eating, which is not a restrictive type of eating. It's about awareness. It's about tuning into your body, honoring your body. And so if you want pie, eat pie. How much pie do you want to eat? And, the whole point of eating is to feel good in your body, enjoy the food, and feel good about it. But if you are overeating pie, which happens when we feel deprived and we feel we're not going to get it again, but that doesn't actually feel good in your body. So decide what pie you want to eat. If there's like a whole variety of pies, maybe you want to focus on the pies that you can't really get at other times of the year that you like. Because apple pie, key lime pie, those kind of pies you can get at other times of the year. So maybe you want to focus on the ones that you can get, or the one that your aunt or friend has made that's really special. And if there are other pies that you want to try, you could perhaps ask if you can have some to take home to enjoy the next day. You don't have to eat it all at once. Then the next challenge that came up is eating to please the host, and, when people push food on you. When you see people who invite you into their home want you to have a good time. They want you to enjoy yourself. They want you to enjoy everything they've prepared. But you don't need to eat everything. You can show your appreciation in different ways. You can compliment the host. You can ask for the recipe. You can just say how wonderful it is. But you do have permission to say, no, thank you. and that it's just too much and you're way too full. Could you have some to take home so you can enjoy it the next day? Another strategy is just to delay and say, I'll have some later. For me, the simplest thing is just to say, oh, I couldn't possibly, I'm just so full. Or to delay, distract, and say you'll have some later. Really, but the honesty, I think, works best, depending on your situation. And you're really not going to offend your host by not eating the food. Ultimately, you've got to choose. Are you going to end up feeling uncomfortable and overfull? So are you going to eat that food at your own expense? So when we eat until we are uncomfortable and stuffed to please other people, it's no longer pleasurable. And then we end up being hard on ourselves. So it's really about finding that sweet spot of where you've had enough to eat and it's enjoyable. And chances are you could probably eat more. But if you do, you're going to be tipping over into that uncomfortable zone. And this isn't an exact science. You're going to have to figure it out, and you might not get it right, but you may end up eating at a point that is more comfortable than previous Thanksgivings. Also, that autopilot eating, while you're waiting for the food to be served and maybe you're having like snacks and appetizers before the meal is served, just take a moment to check in. Are you leaving enough room for, the main course and for desserts? So, but if you're loving the appetizers and you don't like turkey, then enjoy the appetizers and skip the turkey. So, but check in. Why am I eating? Sometimes what happens at these meals is they linger and then the food stays on the table and everybody picks at the food, which is fine. But if you don't want to do that, just stop and ask yourself, why am I eating? Do I want to be eating? Am I even enjoying this? Am I eating this because it's there? Am I eating it because someone made it, I made it? Am I eating it because other people are eating? Am I eating it because I'm anxious or I don't like the conversation at the table? Because that's also a reality at Thanksgiving. We come together maybe once a year or twice a year, and there might be friend or family tensions. Just noticing, I'm having a difficult moment here, or I'm feeling anxious. And then doing something to take care of yourself. Maybe it means just getting up and going to the bathroom, or taking a dish and taking it to the kitchen and taking a few deep breaths in just to ground yourself. Also remembering that when we're anxious and we eat, the food kind of grounds you, it settles you. And in a way, it helps deal with anxiety, but it doesn't help long-term or sustainably because that anxiety comes back. So in this case, the breath is your friend. Taking a few deep breaths, feeling your feet on the ground, just settling in your chair and simply just naming to yourself that I'm feeling anxious right now can help. And if there's diet talk at the table, like, oh, I shouldn't be eating this, or other people looking at you for eating this, it's none of their business. What you eat, how much you eat, it's your body, your food, your business. So let's see what else. So really, when it comes to Thanksgiving and other holidays, really it's about eat what you love what you eat, and eat what your body loves. And really, again, I come back to give yourself permission to eat what you want. Allow yourself to have what you want, and allow yourself to leave what you don't love. And another tip is you know what we tend to do is to save the best for last. So we'll eat the Brussels sprouts and whatever it is we don't like, get it out the way, and then save the best for last. I'm going to say, don't eat what you don't like, and don't save the best for last. Really, if you love the potatoes, eat those, because what ends up happening is if you save the best for last, you're eating, and then you kind of get full, and then you've got the best thing, and then you're so full that you don't enjoy it. So just eat it whenever you want it, but try not save it for last in case you are feeling over full. And if you are planning to restrict, or I'll be good on Monday, I'm going to restrict on Monday, or I'm just going to eat what I want and then on Monday I'll be good again, please be careful of that, because chances are that you'll just land up eating more. It's going to land up being that what we call in intuitive eating last supper eating. So it's kind of like, oh, well, I've blown it with Thanksgiving, so I'm just going to eat and then I'll be good again on Monday. So then what happens is you're overeating on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, feeling bad on Sunday, and that's 4 days of just where the pendulum swings to extremes versus just listening to your body. If you do overeat on Thanksgiving, well, the next time you're hungry again, you can eat. And remember that Thanksgiving is a holiday of connection and gratitude and all being together. It is about the food, and it's also not about the food. So kind of split your attention between the food and the people and the connection. If the people are difficult, then maybe your focus will be more on the food. And again, just bring some gentle awareness to that. And perhaps have some strategies in place for when you might feel triggered or anxious in certain social settings. So food and family can be tricky. I love the quote by Ram Dass, who says, if you think you're enlightened, go and spend a week with your family. So yeah, it can bring up some triggering feelings. And for that, I have included a worksheet at the bottom in the notes of this talk. You can download it, and it's setting intentions for Thanksgiving. And it's really useful to do this worksheet, like really asking yourself, what is the most important thing about Thanksgiving this year? And what are going to be your obstacles? And how are you going to overcome them? And what can you do to be there for you to have your back? And how do you want to feel at the end of Thanksgiving? So it'll take you maybe 10 minutes to do this worksheet, but it will give you clarity around what is important about this holiday, how you want to show up, what are going to be your challenges, and how you can overcome them. I hope this video has helped you, and feel free to share it with friends who it might help. And from my heart to your heart, I wish you a peaceful and joyful Thanksgiving. And I'm grateful that you're here, and I'm so grateful that you watched this video, and I wish you many blessings. Bye.